All right, so we have a video here. It's a Dr. Phil episode, and this server says that he can tell by looking at someone
100%
if they're gonna
we gonna find out.
Tip. Yeah, let's find out. Let's play the clip.
I would hate it if there was a ceiling on my tips. I would much rather get it as a function of performance. Isn't that a better deal?
I think so, 100%. I genuinely think if that reward system wasn't there, you would have significantly worse service.
Do you guys, you say you tip like 10, 20%, 15, 20%. Does the service impact what you tip? If it does, raise your hand. If you get really good service, do you give a better tip?
Does the service impact the tip? Of course it does.
100%.
You're usually not gonna. You're not. If you had bad service, you're gonna give the bare minimum.
Yeah.
What's? I mean, for servers, the bare minimum is something completely different. But let's keep going.
So you do pay for better service. How do you spot a bad tipper?
So first and foremost, I've been stiffed and tipped greatly by almost every type of person. No matter how they look, how they come off, even people that are reserved and a little mean at first have tipped me huge at the end. So I don't prejudge.
Now that's
what we were just talking about.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. I don't particularly find that mean people are bad tippers.
No.
If anything, it's quite the opposite. They know that they're good tippers, but they might be a little bit more demanding.
Yeah.
So I think what he's trying to do is skirt around the idea of being able to profile people.
Yeah.
You know, so he's doing a good job of saying, you know, I've been stiffed and tipped by
both sides of the coin. Exactly what I just said.
True.
You judge any table ever.
But you have a system.
I do have a system.
Well, he told us about this. He says he can tell if a person's a bad tipper or not. So let's see what you said, and then we'll let you apply it.
Okay.
All right.
I want to go over the top signs that indicate that someone is not going to tip me well. Number one, if I roll up to a table and I say, hey guys, how's everyone doing today? And I get this response. Nothing. I get a cold shoulder. No one responds to me at all. The next telltale sign.
If the person doesn't
Acknowledge
them, they're a bad tipper.
Like I said earlier, it can go both ways.
I don't think that's a telltale sign.
No, not 100%, no.
It just...
It might lead to other things.
Sign that someone is not going to tip me is they make humor about getting stuff for free. A lot of times they'll ask, hey, is this beer on tap or is this thing available? And I go, no, I'm sorry, it's not available or we're all out of it. And then they go, well, that means our beer's free, right? I know you're not gonna tip me.
Okay. I have some feelings on this one. If the person makes a joke about if something's free or not, that isn't necessarily a red flag for me. What is a red flag for me is if they keep talking about price.
Yes.
If you talk about price more than once,
it's a red flag.
Oh, it's a red flag.
Yeah.
Bad tipper.
Yeah.
Bad tipper.
Or they're watching their pocket regardless, so that means, they don't have the money to tip the way they should.
Exactly.
And it's okay. The next telltale sign that someone is not going to tip me is they are wearing a sports jersey. When somebody's wearing another man's name on their chest and they're repping it, typically the tips aren't very good. The next telltale sign.
Wow. Buddy.
That was strong.
That's strong.
That someone is not going to tip is if their hygiene is bad. If I see stains on the t-shirts and dirt under the fingernails and a combination of like not, looking me in the eyes, and typically the tips are pretty bad.
I agree with that.
Okay, so the combination is what you were talking about.
Yes. If he's going across the board, I agree with that 100%.
Yes. Now, the jersey thing.
The jersey doesn't even fit in there to me.
No, it doesn't. However, I like the idea of the no eye contact, not acknowledging you.
Yes.
Plus
the bad hygiene. And plus asking about the money.
Yeah. Slam dunk.
Yeah, slam dunk.
Yeah, you're getting 5.
You're getting 5 on 100.
You're getting the change.
Yeah, you're getting 5 on 100. And they might shake your hand and tell you did a great job.
Oh, I don't want to shake this bad hygiene hand. I don't need the BBO on me at all. It's quite. Are there any ones that he mentioned that's a red flag for you?
Price, like we talked about, and the acknowledgement, but it has to be acknowledgement with price. Hygiene, I mean, that just by itself is his own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hygiene. If you have dirt under your fingernails and you're not coming from work, if it's not work related dirt,
Yeah, like you know, if you work in construction, we could tell. That's I'm not judging you. You know what I mean? That's a whole different. We get it. Your work.
if it's bum dirt,
Yeah.
bum dirt.
It means what are you doing on my spot anyway?
That's true. For me, one of the biggest, the two biggest ones for me, outside of I don't really. I have to think about the not acknowledging thing.
Yeah.
Is definitely not is the price and asking too many questions. Question after question. The drilling down into getting exactly, and the substitution after substitution, never good.
Never good.
Like too many substitutions, bad tip.
Bad tip.
100%.
The last way I can tell that you are not going to tip is when I give bad service. And this happens. And I see that you guys are unhappy, and then I don't get tipped, and that made sense because I made a mistake.
He's wrong on that too. I've given bad service and gotten good tips.
Oh yeah, but what he's saying is, in his defense, he's saying is if he realizes he's not going to get a good tip, then he starts to give bad service.
You think so?
Yes,
I didn't take that from him.
I think that's what he was trying to say.
Now, our good buddy Omar, he made a TikTok, and he said that there are people that don't tip.
Yeah,
They don't tip. They pride themselves about not tipping, and he says that that's a theft of service. So what he proposes is, if you're going to be if you're not going to tip, own it, and go up to the server and say, "Hi, I don't tip," and see what kind of service you get thereafter, and see the difference between not telling them that you don't tip versus when you don't tell them, because you won't own it,
yeah.
right?
Mistake.
We asked Jackson to put some of his customer profiling skills to the test to see if he could pick out the alleged bad tippers.
After being a server for about a decade, I really feel like I can determine whether or not somebody's going to tip right off the bat. So I'm going to look at a couple of the audience members and determine whether or not they're tippers. She looks like she's a great tipper. She comes in, makes eye contact. She's super personable. I would get a really good feeling about her. Okay, so she seems a little more nervous, a little bit more reserved. I feel like if I made a mistake with her, she'd be less forgiving, but I do think she's a good
Absolutely.
tipper. This person, I do think that she's a good tipper by the way she's dressed.
Now,
this
the
gentleman
check marks
seems
mean
nice.
that
He
they
seems
are
like
good
an agreeable
tippers?
The
person.
green cat
I
sign.
think this guy's a 15% to 20% tipper. You know what, this lady, I'm not getting a good eye contact with her. I'm not getting like a great energy, and I feel like she might
She leaves
tip kinda
25%.
bad. The jacket makes
The
me
one- I
feel
think
like
he's
he's
wrong
the
on that
type of
one.
person to tip
Yeah,
30
he
or
was
40%.
wrong.
This guy's giving me vibes of like lunchtime, no eye contact. I feel like this is a more challenging person, but I do think he will tip. This guy, I have a really good feeling. He seems like the type of person that would tip really well and be a really easy customer. He seems like he would just order his food, not be very needy, and tip his 20% and get out. I like this guy. That's my take on the audience members tipping, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, good for him. I mean, most of them, except for one, were good tippers.
Yeah.
And here's my issue. How do they know they're good tippers?
They don't. So maybe we're about to find out what they leave, right?
Yeah, it's self-reporting good tippers. I've had people think that they give you good tips, and it's not even the minimum.
Because they don't know.
Because they don't know. They think that, let's say, if you have a $100 check and you tip, I'd say $15, you might think, hey, $15 is great. Or if it's a $200 tip and you're tipping $20, you're thinking $20 is great. You're thinking of not the percentage, but
the cash.
but what the cash and what the cash means to you.
You, yeah.
So it may not mean you're tipping well, but you might think, oh, you know what I have to do for
$20?
for $20? Oh, and I was only here for an hour and a half, and $20 an hour is great. You know, there's a lot of nuances
Yes.
there. And so, I mean, it's a fun thing, but I don't think anyone can tell. Besides looking at a vagrant, you can't tell who's a good
No,
tipper
not
by
at all.
watching.
Not a first look, but let's see how close he was.
I mean, he was pretty close. That was the.
That was the thing? That what they told us? They were right? You sure? There's still time left.
Okay. All right. You know, when I heard about your system backstage, I was going to say, I wonder what he would think of me. I wonder if he would clock me for a bad tipper.
I mean, it's a lot of energy in the greet. So when I say, "Hey, how you doing?" If you're making eye contact and you're smiling at me and you're nice to me, you get the best service. It's like that simple right off the bat. I'm gonna go all out for you all the way to the end. So if you don't want to tip, and to the 7% of people that don't want to tip, eye contact, big smile, and you'll trick all of us.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the.
That was it.
Oh, okay. So they didn't really tell us if they tip well or not.
Correct.
So we don't even know.
No, we don't know. Well, I thought then when the signs came up that
meant they were?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And so, like I said before, I don't think you could tell by the looks.
No, and he
But-
just gave you the secret.
but
For
by
people
the
that aren't going to
actions.
tip, it's all about what you do. If you come in smiling, you come in hot, you're good to go. You don't say nothing. They'll still give you good service, even if.
Without a doubt.
You don't
and
wanna
that's our
tip
job. Our job's to give you good service.
Yeah.
But just don't go back to the same restaurant twice.
Yeah, and that's what happens. If you don't tip correctly, or you don't tip at all,
Yes.
we'll start tagging you after a while. You'll be that person that's tagged like, oh, they don't tip.
Or it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
We won't give you good service if we know
No,
that you
you
don't
don't
tip.
tip. Yeah.
We've had people that come in week after week for brunch and they don't tip or they don't tip right and they keep coming in. Nobody took them.
Yeah,
And when they came in, they had horrible service and they complained. But we don't work for free.
exactly.
We'll see you in the next one.